So it turns out when your fiancée thinks she's hung up but actually hasn't, you might just hear her roasting your entire existence to her bridesmaids. Not the bachelor party surprise I was hoping for. I, 26 male, was supposed to marry my girlfriend Lex, 26 female, last month, but that plan went up in flames faster than my dignity after 3 White Claws. We'd been together 3 years and have these adorable 1-year-old twin girls that are literally my whole world. Grab something to drink. This is going to be a long one. When I met Lex at this hipster coffee joint in Seattle, I was your classic nice guy working as a barista while finishing my degree in elementary education. The kind of dude who'd apologize when someone stepped on my foot. I had my shit somewhat together, but confidence? Not in my vocabulary. She was this sharp-dressed marketing exec who'd strut in every morning looking like she stepped out of a magazine. Designer everything, perfect hair, that I'm important walk. I was straight up intimidated by her at first. She'd order these complicated drinks, venti quad-shot skinny vanilla latte with exactly 2 pumps, not 3, and absolutely no foam. And she would actually send it back if it wasn't perfect. My CO workers would rock, paper, scissors to avoid taking her order. But, for some weird reason, she started chatting me up, like actually asking about my day, my classes, what books I was reading. I thought she was just being nice to the coffee guy. But after 2 weeks, she left her number on a napkin with "Text me if you want to see what happens outside these walls." I was so shocked I almost spilled her drink. This goddess was asking me out. I waited exactly 4 hours before texting her. Didn't want to seem desperate, LOL. And we set up drinks for that weekend. Our relationship dynamic was set from day one. She was the boss, and I was her cheerleader. Our first date, she picked the spot, some exclusive rooftop bar where a beer cost $15, told me what to wear. "That shirt makes you look scholarly. Wear that," and even ordered for both of us. I was just happy to be there, nodding along to her stories about marketing campaigns and client acquisitions like they were the most fascinating things I'd ever heard. When she'd come home stressed about some project, I'd run her a bath and make dinner. When she got that huge promotion at Vision Point Media, I threw her a surprise party and bragged about her to everyone. When she needed to fly to Chicago for 3 weeks, I rearranged my class schedule to make it work. I thought being supportive meant putting her needs first always. My entire personality became Lex's boyfriend, and I was cool with that. Pathetic looking back. The red flags were everywhere. I was just colorblind to them. She'd forget my family events, but expected me at all her work functions. Like when my sister had her art gallery opening, something she'd worked on for years, and Lex bailed last minute because something came up with a client. But God forbid I miss one of her company cocktail hours where she could parade me around to her XO workers. She'd criticize my teaching career as lacking ambition while I hyped up her every achievement. "Teaching is sweet, Jake, but there's no upward mobility. Don't you want more?" Meanwhile, if she got so much as a compliment from her boss, I'd be planning a celebration dinner. Classic one-way street, but I was too blinded to see it. Our friends were mostly her friends, sleek, ambitious types, who worked in tech, marketing, or finance. They tolerated me as Lex's cute boyfriend, the reliable guy who double-D'd and made sure everyone got home safely. My teaching buddies gradually disappeared from our social calendar because Lex found them kind of basic and not going anywhere. I let it happen because I thought that's what compromise was. But the biggest red flag I ignored, she never ever posted about me on social media unless I was doing something for her. Her feed was full of perfect selfies, work achievements, and girls' nights. Me? I only appeared when I was cooking her dinner or carrying her shopping bags. Caption, "He's a keeper." Like I was a fucking puppy performing tricks. When Lex got pregnant, it wasn't planned and she flipped. I'm talking full meltdown mode. We'd been using protection, but I guess the 99% effective still leaves that 1%. When she showed me the test, her face wasn't confused or scared. It was angry. "This ruins everything," she kept saying, pacing our apartment. Kept talking about her trajectory and how this would derail everything. "I'm up for director next year, Jake. Director. Do you know what having a baby would do to that?" Meanwhile, I was actually pumped to be a dad. Always wanted kids ever since I started teaching first grade. Those little humans are awesome, and the idea of having my own, next level exciting. But reading the room, I kept my excitement on low volume. I promised I'd take the lead on childcare. Maybe even stay home for a year so she could keep climbing that corporate ladder. "It'll barely impact your career," I kept saying. "I've got this. You can still be a boss and I'll handle the baby stuff." She spent 3 days barely speaking to me, constantly on her phone researching options. I knew what options meant, and it crushed me. I'm not a political guy, but the thought of not having this baby, my baby, made me physically sick after weeks of me basically begging, showing her how we could make it work financially. Promising I'd do all the heavy lifting, she reluctantly agreed to keep the pregnancy. But my career doesn't take a backseat, she warned. Not for a second. Finding out it was twins was wild. The ultrasound tech was like, and here's baby number 2. And I nearly passed out. I was stoked, buying 2 of everything, reading all the twin parent blogs, joining dad groups online. She seemed to just see double the problem. When I'd come home excited about the cute matching onesies I'd found, she'd just nod and go back to her laptop. The pregnancy was rough. Not because Lex had complications, physically she was fine, but because she treated it like an inconvenience. She'd snap at me for suggesting she cut back on caffeine, rolled her eyes at prenatal classes, and refused to let me post anything about the pregnancy online until she was showing enough to make a statement. Then, suddenly, it was all professional maternity photo shoots and captions about having it all and executive mom life. After Sophia and Denise were born, I took a full year leave from teaching, told my principal I wanted to be there for every moment with my girls, and thankfully, she held my position. Lex was back at work in 2 weeks, coming home late, missing feedings, and complaining about how tired she was when she barely did any of the night shifts. Those first months were a blur of diapers, bottles, and sleep deprivation. I became a twin ninja, could change 2 diapers in under a minute, mix bottles one-handed, and tell which cry meant hungry versus tired versus gassy. Lex's contribution? Occasionally holding one baby for a photo before handing her back when she started crying. Don't get me wrong, when she was around, she'd do the bare minimum. But there were days when the girls would be asleep before she got home and still asleep when she left in the morning. Weekends, she'd sleep in until 10, claiming she needed to recover from her week. From what? Sitting in meetings while I was juggling 2 infants. But like the chump I was, I defended her to everyone. When my mom would ask why Lex wasn't at the girls' pediatrician appointment, I'd say, "She's building their future, Mom. She's working hard for us." When friends would raise eyebrows at her missing the twins' first Christmas morning for a quick check, and at the office, I'd make excuses. Marketing doesn't stop for holidays. I was the king of rationalization. Anyway, 6 months after the girls were born, I decided it was time to make this family official. Even though Lex had always been wishy-washy about marriage, I wanted my daughters to have a proper family structure. I'd been crushing the dad game, mastered the double diaper change in under 60 seconds, could tell which twin was crying from another room, and still managed to stay in shape despite the sleep deprivation. One Tuesday night, after putting the girls down, it only took one bedtime story because I'd perfected the routine. I set up a surprise dinner with her favorite Thai food in the living room, got some flowers, cleaned the place spotless while the twins napped, the whole 9 yards. Not because I was trying to impress her, but because that's what a man does when he's making power moves. When she walked in, looking surprised for once instead of just demanding things, I didn't beat around the bush. Straight up told her, "Look, the girls need stability, and I'm ready to take this to the next level. I want us to get married." She seemed genuinely shocked. Probably because for once I wasn't asking for her approval or following her lead. Her eyes got all wide and she actually stuttered. "You want to marry me?" "That's what I said," I replied, maintaining eye contact. "I already got measured for a suit and booked the venue for next month. You in or not?" Looking back, I was still trying to force something that wasn't there, but at the time, I thought I was finally taking control of my situation, being the man who makes decisions for his family. When she said yes, I felt like I'd won something. Little did I know I was just giving her exactly what she wanted, for all the wrong reasons. Of course, Lex took complete control of the planning. Everything had to be Instagram perfect. The venue, a luxury downtown hotel. The guest list, heavy on her work connections, light on my family. The budget? Don't ask. I tried to be involved, but every suggestion I made was shot down. "No, Jake. We can't have your college roommate's band play the reception. This isn't a frat party." Or, "My boss is coming. We can't serve beer from that local brewery you like." The one thing I put my foot down about was having the twins in the ceremony. Lex wanted to leave them with a sitter because babies are unpredictable. But I insisted. They're the reason we're a family. They should be there. She eventually agreed, but only after I promised to hire a professional baby wrangler to keep them quiet and camera ready. As the wedding date approached, Lex got more stressed and more controlling. She actually convinced me to start a skincare routine and got me gym sessions with her trainer because the photos will last forever. Jake, I went along with it, telling myself it was just pre-wedding jitters and that things would calm down after we said I do. The night before the wedding, Lex went to stay at her friend Mia's downtown condo for the traditional night apart. Mia was her maid of honor, this sleek corporate type who always looked at me like I was an interesting science experiment. I stayed home with the twins, giving them baths and rocking them to sleep while thinking about how tomorrow would start our official family life. Around 9 p.m., Lex video called me. She looked beautiful, hair in rollers, that smile that still made my heart race. We talked about last-minute details. She showed me her something borrowed, Mia's diamond earrings, and I showed her the girls sleeping in their cribs. She blew kisses, said she couldn't wait to see me at the altar, and we said our goodnights. Then came the moment that would change everything. After we said goodnight, the call should have ended, but her phone just got set down instead. I was about to hang up when I heard Mia's voice in the background. "You sure you're ready for tomorrow?" She sounded skeptical, which immediately made me pause. Why would her best friend be questioning her on the night before our wedding? There's this long pause that immediately made my stomach drop. I should have hung up. A better man would have respected their privacy, but something kept my finger from hitting that red button. Jen, her other bridesmaid, chimes in. "It's not too late to back out if you're having doubts, Lex." Doubts? What doubts? We'd been planning this for months. I felt sick. What I heard next changed me forever. Lex laughs. Not her usual laugh, but this cold, calculating sound I'd never heard before. What choice do I have? Jake's useful. Do you know how good it looks to clients and my boss that I have this perfect little family set up? Single working moms get side-eyed, but a working mom with a devoted husband who handles the kids? That's a power move. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Useful. A fucking power move. Mia asks directly if she loves me. The question hangs in the air for what feels like forever before Lex sighs. "I love what he does for me. He's like the perfect assistant. Raises my kids, keeps my house, and boosts my ego. But am I in love with him? Please. He's sweet, but such a pushover. No ambition, no backbone. Sometimes I want to shake him and tell him to man up." Each word hit like a sledgehammer. 3 years together, twin daughters, and I was just helpful. A convenient accessory to her perfect life narrative. Then the real gut punch. Plus, having the girls with a stay-at-home dad is perfect. I get mommy cred without the mommy hours. I wasn't ready to be a mom, still aren't. But Jake makes it work for my image. I clutch the baby monitor tighter, looking at my sleeping daughters on the screen. Props. She saw our children as freaking props. And once we're married, my position is secure. If things go south, I'll get the house. Probably primary custody since I make 3 times what he does, and he'll still do most of the childcare anyway. They all laugh. My future wife is laughing about using me and our daughters as props for her career, planning her exit strategy before we've even said I do. Jen's voice, slightly slurred from champagne. "God, men are so simple. Wind them up, point them in a direction, and watch them go." More laughter. To Jake. Lex says, "The perfect house husband. May he never realize what he's worth." I don't remember hanging up. I don't remember setting down the baby monitor. I just sat there in the dark living room, feeling something break inside me. Not my heart. That would come later. This was something deeper. My entire worldview, my understanding of who we were as a couple, as a family, shattered. The woman I loved, the mother of my children, had been playing me for years. And tomorrow, I was supposed to legally bind myself to her forever. I didn't scream, didn't throw things. I just sat there replaying her words in my head as the hours ticked by. Such a pushover. No backbone. My position is secure. By morning, something had changed in me. It was like a switch flipped. All those years of putting her first, making excuses for her behavior, being the understanding boyfriend, it was over. I didn't sleep. Not a minute. By 6 a.m., I'd made coffee, checked on the still sleeping girls, and made 3 phone calls to my sister, my best friend Ryan, and my parents. Told them all the same thing. Wedding's off. I'll explain later. Need help with the girls. My sister arrived by 7, took one look at my face and didn't ask questions. "The girls and I will have a great day," she said, squeezing my arm. "Do what you need to do." I showered, put on jeans and a black t-shirt, not the designer outfit Lex had picked for the getting ready photos, and drove straight to Mia's apartment. The entire drive, I rehearsed what I'd say. But when Lex opened the door in her silk getting ready robe, hair half done with a stylist hovering behind her. All those practiced words evaporated. "Jake, what are you doing here? It's bad luck, and I'm on a timeline." She looked annoyed, not concerned. Not, "Oh, my fiancé looks like hell." "Is everything okay?" Just irritated that I was messing up her schedule. I just stared at her for a second, seeing her clearly for the first time. The perfectly calculated expressions, the way she tilted her head just so when she wanted something, the slight eye roll when I'd interrupted her. The call didn't hang up last night. 5 words. That's all it took for her face to change so fast it was almost impressive. From irritation to shock to this calculated look of distress, like watching an actor flip through character choices. "Oh my God, Jake, you know I didn't mean..." I tilted my head just slightly, not even blinking. "Lex, don't. The performance isn't landing." My voice didn't rise, it didn't crack. It was flat, steady, the kind of tone that doesn't beg. It ends things. The wedding's off. Her smile faltered like a signal losing reception. She glanced toward the stylist and her perfectly curated entourage, who were suddenly finding a lot of interest in the floor tiles. "Let's talk in private, okay?" Her voice dipped into soft manipulation mode. "You're overwhelmed. This is just wedding nerves." I stepped forward, closing the space between us, calm as ever. "Nothing about this is nerves," I said. "I heard everything, Lex. Every word. The whole useful bit. My daughter's props. Your 5-year exit plan. Solid strategy. Shame you left the mic on." Her mask cracked. That quick flicker in her eyes. The mental chessboard spinning. Then the fake smile again, overacted, like a bad audition. She waved her minions off with a, "Give us a minute." Once the door clicked shut, her face changed completely. "You're being dramatic," she said, dropping the soft tones. "Think about the girls." "I am thinking about them. You never have. You treat them like accessories for your brand. I treat them like they're my world, and I'm not giving them front row seats to a fake marriage." Her jaw tightened. "You're nothing without me. Who paid for that apartment? Your teaching check barely covers groceries. You think you're going to walk out and do what? Play house with 2 babies on your buddy's couch?" I smiled. The old me would have spiraled, would have explained, justified, maybe even apologized. Now I smiled. "Lex, I could live in a tent and still give them a better life than what you offer in a penthouse." Her voice went sharp. "There are 200 people showing up today. My boss, my investors. Do you have any idea how this looks for me? Sounds like a you problem." She started to pace, trying to reframe, control, salvage. "You can't just vanish. You can't just call it all off without telling me." "I already did. Venue's canceled. Guests are getting calls. You'll have plenty of time to post about your healing journey later." That one hit. Her whole body locked up. "You actually did it?" she said, stunned. "You called it off without permission?" "Didn't need it. I don't ask permission to leave the cage." She lunged, fingers clamping around my forearm. "If you leave now, I'll make sure you regret it. You won't see the girls again. I will bury you in court." I leaned in, quiet but deliberate. No threat, no fear, just truth. "Lex, I dare you." And I walked out without looking back. On the drive back, I texted my best man to notify everyone. Then I called my sister, asked if she could keep the girls a few more hours, and went home to pack essentials. 3 years of my life in that apartment, and I only cared about getting my girls' things and my important documents. By the time Lex came storming in that afternoon, I had already moved the twins' cribs, clothes, toys, and my personal documents to Ryan's place. She slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Ironically, one of us on vacation in Maui, both smiling at the camera. Fake. "You humiliated me," she screamed. "Do you know how this makes me look? Not my problem anymore. We could have talked about this. You didn't have to cancel everything. Do you know how much money we've lost?" "You've lost," I corrected. "Your name's on all the contracts. Your credit card for the deposits." That's when she played her trump card. Her voice suddenly deadly calm. "I'll take the girls. My lawyer will destroy you. No judge will give primary custody to a man with no job and no home." I just smiled. This was the moment I'd been preparing for during those sleepless hours. "I've been recording this conversation, Lex. Just like I saved screenshots of all those texts where you call motherhood boring and complain about having to see the girls, plus all those missed pediatrician appointments you were too busy for. Try me." I hadn't actually been recording, but she didn't know that. Her face went white, the look of someone who just realized they messed with the wrong person. "Get out." she whispered. Already gone, I replied, grabbing my last bag. My lawyer will contact yours about custody arrangements. Your lawyer? She laughed bitterly. What lawyer could you possibly afford? I paused at the door. You'd be surprised what people will do when you're not a complete asshole to them. The first week after the non-wedding was chaos. Had to deal with fallout, questions, her trying to control the narrative. But something had changed in me permanently. The nice guy was dead. I stayed at Ryan's place, crashing on his couch while the girls took the spare bedroom. He was a real one, never complaining about the 5 a.m., crying or the baby gear taking over his apartment. Stay as long as you need, bro. This place needed some life anyway. My sister set up a GoFundMe without telling me. Jake and the twins' fresh start. Friends from college, my teaching colleagues, even some of my students' parents chipped in. I cried when I saw it. Not because of the money, though that helped, but because I realized I had people. I'd just been so isolated in Lex's toxic world that I'd forgotten. Meanwhile, Lex was spinning our breakup like a PR pro. Her social media went dark for exactly 3 days before she emerged with a carefully crafted statement about mutual decisions and focusing on co-parenting. She even had the nerve to post a somber black and white photo of herself gazing thoughtfully out a window with the caption, "New beginnings aren't always by choice. Sometimes the universe has other plans." I snorted when I saw it. The universe didn't have other plans. Her mask slipped and I finally saw the truth. My parents drove up from Portland to help out. Dad took one look at me and said, "About time, son." Never liked her. Mom was more diplomatic, but admitted she'd always worried about how Lex seemed to see you as an accessory, not a partner. I consulted with 3 lawyers before picking the shark of the group. Diane, a divorce attorney who specialized in father's rights. Used my savings plus a loan from my sister to pay the retainer. Started documenting everything, how many hours Lex actually spent with the girls, screenshots of her canceling plans with them, witness statements from neighbors about who actually cared for them. When Lex realized I was serious about fighting for primary custody, she tried a new approach, crying, saying she'd change, that she was just scared of commitment. But the old me would have melted. The new me saw straight through it. "Save the performance," I told her during a tense handoff of the girls for her first visit with them. "You're talking to someone who's seen behind the curtain now." She actually stamped her foot like a toddler. "You're being stubborn and vindictive. This isn't about us. It's about Sophia and Denise." "Exactly. It is about them. And they deserve a parent who sees them as humans, not accessories." Her family got involved next. Her dad actually cornered me outside Ryan's place, demanding I be reasonable and think about what you're doing to Lex's reputation. I stood my ground. I am being reasonable. I'm protecting my daughters from someone who sees them as props. At work, I requested full-time hours again. Found a daycare that would take the girls part-time while I taught. Spent my lunch breaks FaceTiming them and raced to pick them up the second my last class ended. It was exhausting, but felt right. Started hitting the gym at 5 a.m. before the girls woke up. Ryan went with me those first few weeks, practically dragging me out of bed some mornings. "You need to get stronger physically to get stronger mentally," he'd say, sounding like some discount Tony Robbins. But he wasn't wrong. Deleted my social media accounts where I'd spent years hyping up Lex's achievements while she barely acknowledged mine. Cut off mutual friends who took her side, or who texted things like, "I'm sure you guys can work it out," or, "Have you considered couples counseling?" There were dark moments, nights when the girls were finally asleep and the apartment was quiet, and I'd wonder if I'd made a mistake, if I should have just kept my mouth shut, married her, and lived in blissful ignorance. But then I'd imagine my daughters growing up seeing that dynamic, learning that relationships were transactional, that people were to be used, and I'd know I'd made the right call. One night, after a particularly brutal day of Lex's lawyer sending threatening emails, Ryan asked what happened to me. "You're different, dude. More intense." "Just finally got my priorities straight," I told him. "Me and my girls, everything else is noise." 3 weeks later, Lex served me with custody papers. She wanted full custody with generous visitation for me. The balls on this woman. Her reasoning, my unstable housing situation, staying with a friend, my questionable mental state, canceling a wedding last minute, and my inability to financially provide adequately compared to her executive salary. My lawyer just smiled when I showed her the papers. "She's playing by the old rule book. Judges don't automatically favor mothers anymore, especially with babies this young who clearly have you as their primary caregiver." We filed our counter-petition for primary physical custody, offering Lex standard visitation and no child support if she'd agree. Her response came within hours. Not a chance in hell. We had our first court appearance for temporary orders while the case proceeded. Lex showed up in a conservative, navy suit, hair pulled back, minimal makeup, the perfect image of a professional working mother. Her lawyer painted this picture of Lex as this loving mom just trying to balance career and family who was blindsided by my erratic behavior and sudden abandonment. When my turn came, my lawyer presented the receipts, a literal calendar showing who took the girls to every doctor appointment. Me. Screenshots of Lex texting can't do bedtime again. Big client dinner dozens of times. And the bomb audio of Lex telling her assistant push that school tour again. Baby stuff is so boring. The judge, an older woman with sharp eyes, ordered mediation before making any decisions on temporary custody. You two need to find a way to co-parent civilly. These children deserve both parents working together. In the hallway after, Lex approached me. I tensed, expecting another argument, but she had shifted tactics again. What do you want, Jake? Money? I'll pay whatever you want if you stop making me look bad. I stared at her, genuinely confused. You still don't get it, do you? I want my daughters. That's it. She actually laughed. Come on. You think a judge is going to give primary custody to a man over their mother? Be realistic. I leaned in close. Try me. The day before our next court date, Lex showed up at Ryan's place unannounced. She looked different, designer clothes replaced with casual wear, makeup toned down, hair in a simple ponytail. The perfect devoted mom costume. I've been thinking, she said, all reasonable and calm. We can work something out. You can have them during the week. I'll take weekends. I'll pay support. We can both win. Translation, I can continue doing all the work while she gets the Instagram moments. Weekend mom without weekday responsibilities. Not interested in your deals anymore, Lex. I closed the door in her face. In mediation, we reached an impasse. She wouldn't accept less than joint custody on paper. Even if I had them most of the time, it was about her image, not the girls. She kept repeating, I'm their mother. I gave birth to them, as if that automatically qualified her for equal parenting time despite being absent for most of their lives. Court day arrived. I wore a simple suit, had a fresh haircut, looked the judge in the eye when speaking. My lawyer prepped me well. Answer only what's asked, don't let emotions show, focus on the girl's needs, not my feelings about Lex. Lex showed up in full mom mode, conservative dress, natural makeup, even brought a diaper bag as a prop. She'd never changed a diaper without complaining. She'd curated a perfect Instagram feed over the past 2 weeks, suddenly full of mommy and me moments that I knew were staged during her brief visits. Her testimony was Oscar-worthy, tears at just the right moments, voice breaking when she talked about missing milestones with the twins. Earnest promises to adjust her work schedule. I had to bite my tongue to keep from laughing out loud. My testimony was simple, just facts. Who took the girls to doctor's appointments? Who knew their favorite foods, their nap schedules, their allergies? Who had been the primary caregiver since birth? The game changer came when her own friend Mia testified. She'd had enough of Lex's BS and brought text receipts showing Lex's true feelings about motherhood and her plans to use the custody battle to save face at work. Texts like, just need to look like I want custody. Once it's settled, I can hire a full-time nanny and mommy photo shoot tomorrow. Kill me now. Babies are so boring. Mia's betrayal hit Lex hard. Her face went from shock as she realized her carefully constructed image was crumbling. The judge awarded me primary physical custody. Lex got every other weekend and 1 dinner a week. She was livid. In the hallway after, she cornered me, hissing that I'd manipulated everyone, turned her own friends against her. No, Lex, you did that all on your own. Fast forward 6 months. I'm in a completely different place now, mentally and physically. Found an affordable 2-bedroom apartment close to my school. Quit teaching to start an educational consulting business I can run from home. Turns out my classroom experience was valuable to educational technology companies looking to develop better tools for teachers. Started lifting seriously, put on 20 pounds of muscle, cut my hair short, upgraded my wardrobe. The passive nice guy is gone. I can see it in my eyes. My place has a no negativity rule. I've got a whiteboard with goals and achievements. The girls are thriving with our solid routine. They're walking now, starting to talk, developing these amazing little personalities. Sophia is the daredevil, always climbing things. Denise is more cautious but super observant. They're my whole world, but in a healthy way now. Not in that desperate please don't leave me way I had with Lex. Lex has already missed half her visits, always with work excuses. Fine by me. The girls don't even react when she cancels anymore, which says everything about her role in their lives. She pays child support, always late, and is constantly trying to renegotiate our agreement to make it look better, meaning more custody on paper that she won't actually use in reality. Last month she called to say she's taking a position in their London office, asked if I'd be reasonable about her seeing the girls less. I just said, your choice, your consequences. She seemed shocked that I wasn't fighting her on it. Didn't realize that her absence is actually easier on all of us. Had a date last weekend. First one in forever. This CrossFit coach named Maya, who treats the twins like actual humans, not accessories. She didn't flinch when Denise had a meltdown in the restaurant. Just helped me calm her down without making a big deal about it. Taking it slow. But it's nice to be with someone who values what I bring to the table. The old Jake would have done anything to keep a woman like Lex happy, even at his own expense. The new me, I know my worth. I don't chase. I don't beg. I don't compromise on what matters. My girls see a father who stands his ground, who prioritizes himself and them above everything. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if that call had hung up properly. I'd be married to someone who saw me as a useful prop, raising daughters who would learn that's what relationships should look like, living a lie and probably knowing it deep down, but too scared to face it. That accidental open line didn't just save me from a bad marriage, it completely transformed me. From a guy who apologized for existing to a man who knows exactly what he brings to the table. From someone desperate for approval to someone who gives approval only where it's earned. I won't lie and say it's been easy. Single parenting twins while building a new career is the hardest thing I've ever done. There are days when I'm so exhausted I fall asleep on the floor of their room while putting them to bed. Days when I wonder if I'm doing any of this right. But then Sophia will grab my face with her little hands and give me a slobbery kiss. Or Denise will fall asleep on my chest, completely trusting. And I know this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. To anyone reading this who's settling, who's dimming their light for someone else, who's accepting scraps of affection and calling it a feast, wake up. You deserve more. Your worth isn't determined by how useful you are to someone else. And sometimes the most alpha move isn't fighting, it's walking away and building something better.